William Butler Yeats, To a Shade. About the poet William Butler Yeats. W.B. Yeats was born in Dublin, the capital city of Ireland, on 13 June 1865. W.B. Yeats' name will go down in history as perhaps the greatest Irish writer ever. He was more than a poet. He wrote plays as well as prose. He was an Irish nationalist poet and a dramatist. His father's name was John Butler Yeats. He was a painter of modest success and belonged to a respected family line of Protestant aristocrats and clergymen. Yeats was named after his grandfather, William Butler Yeats. Yeats' mother's name was Susan Yeats. She belonged to a family of businessmen in County Sligo, on the west coast of Ireland. Though Yeats' father was a barrister, he decided to move to London with a hope to become a painter. However, his mother was not happy with her husband's decision and chose to live for some months every year from 1867 to 1873 at Sligo. Living with his grandparents and uncle at seaside Sligo and with his father in London, Yeats and his five siblings came into contact with two completely different worlds: the urban world and the center of colonial Britain, that is London. And the second one was the typical Irish rural world. This evoked his post colonial imagination quite early in his life. Yeats met Maud Gonne in 1889, an English born Irish revolutionary suffragist and also an actress. He wished to marry her, but his love was unrequited. William Butler Yeats founded the Irish Literary Theatre in London in 1899. This theatre was later called Abbey Theatre. William Butler Yeats was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1923. He became the first Irishman to be honored with this prestigious award. Yeats left for his heavenly abode on 28th of January 1939. W.B. Yeats was an eminent poet and a great author, and his contribution to literature is very significant. He was not only a poet but a playwright as well. He worked as an anthropologist and a folklorist too. Yeats was one of the theatre managers of Abbey Theatre that he founded along with Lady Gregory. He had a great impact and influence on Irish political and literary history. Yeats wrote in a tradition that he inherited from great writers like Blake and Shelley. He called himself the last romantic. Yeats is one of the foremost figures of 20th century literature. He is widely considered to be one of the greatest poets of 20th century. He in fact is a pillar of Irish literary establishment. Yeats began by writing epic poems such as The Isle of Statues and The Wanderings of Oisin. Other early poems are lyrics on the themes of love or mystical or esoteric subjects. The most important collections of poetry began with the writing of The Green Helmet (1910) and Responsibilities (1914). In the second decade of the 20th century, Yeats, along with T. S. Eliot and Ezra Pound, radically transformed English poetry, making it suggestive and symbolist. He made himself a key figure in European modernism. Yeats was also influenced by Indian philosophy and also by Indian poetry. He was highly influenced by the Upanishads and the poems by Rabindranath Tagore. The most famous poem by Yeats is The Second Coming. It is regarded as the most influential poetic works of the 20th century modernist poetry. Other famous poems by Yeats are The Stolen Child, The Second Coming, Sailing to Byzantium, Among School Children, A Prayer for My Daughter. W.B. Yeats influenced not only Irish literary movement but also Irish political movement or movement for independence. He organized political meetings and lectures for the Irish movement for independence. He played a key role in securing the independence of Ireland. Yeats influenced Irish politics to such a great extent that Oliver St. John Gogarty said that if it had not been for W.B. Yeats, there would be no Irish Free State. Yeats was appointed to the first Irish Senate in 1921. He again served the second term in the Irish Senate in 1925.